Welcome to the CDAO Magazine interview series. I'm Savio Rodrigues with Trianz. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Vishal Patel, Chief Data and Analytics Officer, Executive Managing Director at Webster Bank, on a very interesting topic of examining the CDO's approach to designing data products that are intuitive and user friendly. It's very nice to speak with you today, Vishal.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me for this conversation.
I would love for our listeners to hear a little bit more about your business and the current role you play at Webster Bank.
Absolutely. So, as you introduced me, my name is Vishal Patel. I'm the Chief Data and Analytics Officer for Webster Bank. Webster Bank is based here in Connecticut, with footprint in large part of Connecticut and New York from the retail branch perspective. We are also into commercial banking business as well, with a lot of clients all over the United States. We also have a subsidiary called HSA Bank, which you might have heard about, which is a health saving account bank, which is also part of our business in general.
Awesome. I know we picked an interesting topic on data product, and it will be nice for level setting on how do you define a data product and what is the strategic importance of looking at data as a product in your organization's overall business strategy.
Yeah. So the way I think about is a typical product development mindset, right? As you start to bring an idea on the table, where it starts with an ideation, then you have define a product, you design a product, then you pressure test the product, and then you go out in the market to see what's the responses, right? Looking at that typical mindset of front to back of product management and product development, we have kind of embraced that idea within a CDO function in general. That has allowed us to build some of the data products with a minimum viable product mindset so that we can test the product and refine it so that the user experience perspective it's good and it's fit for use for our lines of business and colleagues. From a business standpoint, if as long as we keep that mindset in general, then we strategically aligns to our business strategy in terms of be it on the risk side of the world or the business growth side of the world.
Excellent. And I know with the data product the mindset of looking at it as a product, it becomes even more critical on the experience of enabling the product and making it searchable and all of that. So how would you prioritize user experience in the development of data products, and what steps are you taking to ensure that data products are designed with the end user in mind? So any examples that you could share that your team is
Absolutely.
working on would be great.
Absolutely. So the way I have ingrained that mindset of in three different functions or three different pillars, right? The manufacturer side of the world where the data gets actually created, then there's a warehouse side of the world, and then there's a showroom side of the world. So warehouse side of the world is where the entire governance aspect of architecture principles, data governance practices, data quality management, just so that we have those boundary conditions of completeness, consistency, and accuracy. And obviously with the risk appetite kind of mindset. But when you look at this data products, when we build it and it's out there on the showroom, at least the product has to be good enough for somebody to be able to use it. But at the same time, somebody needs to go into the showroom so that they have a good user experience and they don't have to spend endless hours of time to find out what the product they're looking for. It should be right out there, right? So we kind of look at in that mindset where we build, we do not compromise, quality of the product that we build, but at the same time, the user experience side of the world is also super important, just from the accessibility standpoint, slicing and dicing standpoint, and more importantly, making it relevant for our colleagues.
So true. And I think that last point that you made, to make it relevant to the different domains and different people, and allowing them to better collaborate, with each other, and controlling the whole governance and fine grain access and everything that comes with it. So I'd love to get, some of your thoughts on the techniques do you use to gather feedback from users of the data products, and how does that get incorporated in its design?
Absolutely. And it's a great question. I think, again, going back to the product management kind of mindset, right? There has to be a continuously refinement of products to make it more relevant for our colleagues in general. So I have set up an operating model called Data Center of Excellence, where we continuously engage our business community in terms of what the business problems they are trying to solve for and align those data products in that space. And then we look at the aspect of what's the success criteria for that product, what's its usability. And looking at those metrics, then we can figure out whether the product is useful, it has lost its relevance, and if it has lost its relevance, we sunset that product and then bring up with a new product. But there's also aspect of reusability of that product in itself. So the aspect of upgrading it, refining it, and then making it more relevant for our business colleagues is of super importance for us.
100%. And the whole reusability aspect comes into play, especially when we make this marketplace, available for the whole, user base. And in terms of, the balance between the need for data accuracy with the need for user friendliness in the products itself, what strategies do you, use to simplify complex data for users?
Yeah. So as we start to look at any of our data products, right, and again going back to the same product management or product development mindset, what was it? What is it we're trying to solve for? What is it? It's relevant for, and looking at that perspective and then balancing out what's the need from accuracy perspective. Going as a CDO and as a CDAO of the company, I always go with the mindset of those three pillars, right? Completeness, consistency, and accuracy. We certainly do not sacrifice that in terms of the data product in itself, else the product becomes less relevant. But it also depends upon the use case. If the use case is more like directionally needs to be accurate but not 100%, it all depends upon what sort of the business impact that product would have and what's its relevance for from the business strategy standpoint. So that's how we strike the balance. And again, this is between our partnership with our business colleagues. They help us to make all this conversation or have that kind of discussion and getting into the right decision points in defining the right products and the success criteria for that.
No, thank you for sharing that, Vishal. And I know with the plethora of tools and emerging trends and technologies in the field of data products, love to get your insights again in what you believe will significantly impact your role or strategy in the future.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we all know that AI aspect of it is now becoming mainstream, right? With any other tools, you will see an aspect of AI or machine learning being part and parcel of it. Given we are in the finance industry and in a bank which is more regulated, I think we want to look at in a way where we can say, well, what are some of the use cases that we can try things out which are not risky at all or less risky, and at least from the internal use case where it's more of an efficiency play versus directly impacting client. We want to try and test things out before we can say, well, we can embrace that kind of technology. So that's some of the thought process going into those emerging trends, especially on the AI front, where you will see a lot of all our technology partners, like if it's Amazon or Google's and Snowflakes of the world, they are bringing a lot of those capabilities out there. It's just a question of how relevant those are and how do we drive that adoption within our business in general.
Got it. Got it. And I may just, if you're open to share any particular examples that you may want to share of a data product that is of interest or you have built, or something that you may want to just share with the audience as well.
Yeah. So one of the things, given we are bank, right? So bank has two different criteria. One is the deposit side of the world and there's a loan side of the world, right? And again, given the current market conditions and things which are happening in financial services in general, the key aspect is should we look at the loans deposits or deposits in general and how they are trending. So one of the products that we have built internally is to look at the deposit trends and see a slice by different products. So that allows us, our business colleagues, to say, where in general the market is flowing and in terms of the current market environment. So giving you a little more flavor of that kind of, products in general. So making it more relevant for our business colleagues.
No, that's a great example, and the relevancy for the business colleagues is so important. And I'm so glad that you all are on that journey. Well, that's about all the time we have. I've been speaking with Vishal Patel, Chief Data and Analytics Officer and Executive Managing Director at Webster Bank, on a very interesting topic of examining the CDO's approach to designing data products that are intuitive and user-friendly. Thank you so much, Vishal, for joining me today.
Thank you. And thank you for having me and providing me this opportunity.
Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.